Hello everybody, Jake, your resident content cowboy here, Yeehaw, and it's Monday. On Mondays we do tier lists, on Wednesdays we wear pink.
I'm kind of psychic. I have a fifth sense. What do you mean? It's like I have ESPN or something.
Okay, I think that was the song to the tune of Panic at the Disco's I Write Sins, Not Tragedies. I chime in with a haven't you ever done a tier list on a day that's not Monday. Today I'm gonna hit you with a couple different things. First of all, I just really quickly want to update this competitive tier list, the Pokemon you see all the top pros using at a very high competitive level. After watching all the tournaments this weekend, I saw some things on my list that were pretty good, some things that were maybe a hair off, and I just want to update this real quick, and then we are going to hop in to the Hoopa release tier list right here. So a lot of this is still the same. A lot of the Pokemon that you see so much, all that top row there, very much correct. A lot of teams are using these, Machamp, Talon. Greninja, actually, I saw very little Greninja play this tournament at all. I would drop Greninja all the way down to this B- tier. I'm not saying it's a bad Pokemon. I'm just saying we didn't see it played much at all in this tournament. Only a couple teams ran it. Machamp, you saw a decent amount of. I would still say it's the second most common Pokemon you're seeing in that top lane, but at the same time, we didn't see a ton of Machamp either. I'm going to drop this down here to B. Talon, I saw more Talon than I even expected. Talonflame is now going up here into the see them so much, not only because you're seeing it in that central area or jungle from the 1-1-3 meta, but you're also seeing it in score compositions. A lot of Talonflame. Dragonite, saw more Dragonite than I expected, specifically because of the score comp, but some people still using it in other team compositions. Didn't see much Blissey, which I was surprised by because I know that AFR, the team from the Philippines, crushed their tournament with Blissey, but I did not see a ton of it. Saw a little more Mime than I expected, moving Mime up to B tier here. Still got a B tier, and let's see, Gardevoir, I expected to see a little bit more of it. Honestly, I only saw a couple teams run it, and I didn't get to see Foreign Famous with it because they were disqualified at the start of the tournament here. I'm going to move this down to B- here. Char, I saw a decent amount of. Greedent, moving up to a lot of teams are using these. Lots and lots of Greedents. Greedent's on score comps, Greedent's not on score comps, Greedent's amazing. Looking at the rest of these Pokemon, very little Snorlax. I'm still going to keep it B-, but insanely small amount of Snorlax. Almost no Aegislash. I didn't see it run at all and by none of the top teams. Garchomp, not run by any of the top teams. Mamoswine, also not run by any of the top teams. Let's see. Crustle. Saw a little more Crustle than I expected, but to be fair, only at one point. Only once. And it was only in a score comp. So I think you can still keep this B-, but Crustle was a bit of a hero in this tournament. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out. Let's see. In the Pokemon who get 0 play, these are all still correct. Zarina, Absol, Gengar, Zeraora, Trevenant, Cram, Ninetales, Sylveon. I can move it up to B- only because I saw one team, Random Gaming, actually playing Sylveon and doing okay with it, but besides that, no one was really playing this Pokemon, and that is about where it sits competitively. So just a slight update to that. Now, let me take you over to the official Hoopa tier list. Here we are at our tier list for today. Our categories are the God tier. We always put one Pokemon, especially when there's a new huge patch or a Pokemon release, up in that God tier, and I let you know why I think that Pokemon is the very best right now or is insanely game-changing. We only have one God. We're not friggin' Norse around here, or Roman, or Greek, or I don't know. I think the Native Americans had a lot of different gods. The point is, we pick one god, okay? I'm not going to argue about it. The so these are great tier. The A, attaboy, nice Pokemon tier. The B tier. You know, I try and I just... We still got the B tier. I don't know. And then the C, come on, guys. These aren't that bad tier. And then the D, don't make me call this the Decidueye tier. But, yeah. We have the D tier. I'm just going to start with that. I think Decidueye is in one of the worst places in the game right now. Not unplayable. You can do some good things with it. I know some coordinated teams work well with it. To be clear, when you're looking at a tier list like this, it doesn't mean you cannot play these Pokemon. It doesn't mean you can't do really well with these Pokemon. It just means there are often other Pokemon that do similar things much better. To illustrate my point here, let's talk about someone who does something kind of similar to Decidueye, Cinderace. Cinderace does something similar to Decidueye, output a lot of damage at range using its basic attacks, and it does it so much better. It has incredible mobility. It is used competitively. It is used solo to a wonderful degree. And this is why Decidueye is so low. Maybe if Cinderace didn't exist and Decidueye was our only option, Decidueye would be much better, but it's just a really squishy Pokemon that people can jump on, whereas Cinderace is a Pokemon that can jump over people's heads, through you, get crazy KOs. It's able to put so much distance between it and enemy Pokemon, or it's able to chase. It's just so much better. So that's what's happening with Pokemon like Decidueye and Cinderace. And we're on attackers right now, so why don't we keep talking about them? Greninja, I think, is still very good. I think it really gets overshadowed by Cinderace, but there are still a lot of players that swear by Greninja, and it does have some incredible mobility. It's got some great stealing potential with its Unite move. It's a really strong Unite move in a lot of ways. It sets up Greninja to get some massive KOs. Both of its builds are working pretty well right now. A lot of people playing Surf a lot more than a little while back here, which is very cool. Water Shuriken still incredibly good. I think Greninja is great. Its biggest issue is Cinderace, but it's a lot closer to Cinderace than a Pokemon like Decidueye is. Another attacker here, Gardevoir. I think Gardevoir is probably A tier right now. I think it's extremely good, specifically in that central area or jungle role. So if you can get it in there, you level it early. By the time it's level 5, you are making it into either the top or bottom path for those 8 minutes 50 seconds Bs. You're hitting with that Future Sight. Every time you hit with Future Sight, its cooldown is back down to 2 seconds. It's basically back immediately, and you could just do insane amounts of damage with this Pokemon. You're seeing it more and more used competitively. More teams are trying it out in that central area slot, so I think it's really good. It's in the best place it's ever been in the game right now. It's a great Pokemon. Let's see, Cramorant. Cramorant. Here's the thing with Cramorant. It's okay-ish. I want to say it's C, but I almost think it's D. And the problem is, it's not, again, none of these Pokemon are useless. I think I am going to put it D right now. I don't know, maybe C. I'm gonna think about this while I talk about it, but it's not that it's useless. It's not useless. It's just so much less useful than multiple Pokemon who do the same role. It sadly is in a situation with Decidueye, and just like Decidueye, it has a Unite move that feels like it could be amazing, but is often extremely underwhelming. And part of that is because of how squishy this Pokemon is. When Cramorant uses its Unite move, it doesn't do as much damage as it did before. They nerfed it. I'll never know why. I write them every day saying, why did you nerf Cram? It makes no sense to me. But you could just jump right onto Cram. You could just jump right onto Decidueye and KO them when they use their Unite moves. They're, in a way, less useful sometimes when they unite. It's just such an unfortunate Pokemon. I think I am going to put it in this D tier right now. And I want both of these Pokemon to get a little love. More mobility, probably from Decidueye. Some way to be more mobile. And then from Cram, I think you need to give Cram its strength back. Why'd you rob its strength? You sapped its strength. So Cram's rough. Cram is rough right now. Competitively, not used ever, ever, ever. And solo, there are just so many Pokemon you'd use instead. Let's go through some more attackers right here. Ninetales. Ninetales is okay. It's okay. Still, it runs into the same issue that Cram has, but it is better than Cram. Its combo, I think, is a little more solid than Cram. They're close. They are close. Its Unite move is better than Cram. Both of these, again, outshined in a big way by a very, very sparkly Pokemon, and that Pokemon is Pikachu. One reason that Ninetales also suffers a bit is because its Dazzling Gleam Aurora Veil build just doesn't really work that well in the current meta. So if maybe they change it to where Aurora Veil just follows Ninetales around, that could be a little bit better, or increases its range. It needs a little bit of help to make that moveset sort of viable again. And we talked about Pikachu, so let's just bring it up. Pikachu is S tier right now, so incredibly good. You can unite with it like 50 times in a match. It's just such a crazy, nutty Pokemon. All its moves are good. It's Volt Tackle, it's Electro Ball, Thunder, Thunderbolt. You can use any combination. You can literally use any combination of Pikachu's moves, and it's good. And this is, again, the reason that you see Ninetales and Cram low is the same reason you see Decidueye low, and you see a Pokemon like Greninja lower than Cinderace. Cinderace is just so amazingly good, and Pikachu is so amazingly good. And you could play Cram over Pikachu. You could have a great game with Cram. I love playing Cram. Pikachu's better. It's just better. It's better across the board. So they are in our, so these are great tier. And Cram, Ninetales falling much lower here. Again, none of these Pokemon I think are unplayable. They just don't do the job as well as someone else. Sylveon, I kind of want to put it C, but for now I'll put it in the B tier. Still got the B tier. And I think Sylveon's in this weird place where Hyper Voice isn't as useful as it once was. I think because there's so many Pokemon that are just incredibly mobile, it's kind of difficult to do what you want to do with Hyper Voice. Sylveon is still a pretty dominant Pokemon early. Its Mystical Fire build is good, and its Hyper Voice build is good. So that's kind of where you leave it. It's good. It's not great. Falls off late game a bit. It just doesn't seem to output enough damage near the end there. Pretty good. Good early. Gets its Unite move very early. But after they pulled all the damage back from Sylveon, when it was clearly overpowered at launch, after they pulled all that damage back, it's kind of always settled in this okay middle area. That's what I think about Sylveon right now. And the more Pokemon that get released, it just seems like it's harder and harder for Sylveon to keep up. Let us see. Venusaur, one of our next attackers here. Venusaur is insane. Venusaur is insane. I think this Pokemon's crazy good. It's crazy good competitively, crazy good solo. Maybe one of the best solo Pokemon. And the reason for that being is not only can you output a ton of damage, not only can you move at incredible speeds, but you can survive using that Giga Drain. I think Venusaur's nuts. And honestly, the Solar Beam build is great too. Venusaur's nuts. It's just a nuts Pokemon. So good in this game. I get asked often, what is a good solo queue choice? Venusaur is amazing. Amazing for solo queue. I believe that is all of our attackers currently. We don't yet have Durgalaga Darglon into the game. So those are all of our attack Pokemon. Sometimes my eyes are scrolling through this and I'm going, I know I'm missing someone. Who am I missing? Who am I missing? But I think those are all of our attackers right now. We've got Absol next on this list. Let's talk about our speedsters. I think Absol is BA. BA, high B, low A. Very good Pokemon. However, competitively it falls off. So I always kind of go between A and B for this Pokemon. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I think I'm going to have to do this right here. Hold on. You, up. You. Just got a B+. Jeez, I can't believe I just got a B+. What am I going to do here? I have a B+. It is what it is. Just got the B+ tier, and I think that's a good place to put a Pokemon like Absol. Pretty dang good, but really no competitive viability because there are just some other Pokemon that do its job a little bit better. I have seen, or I've heard, I should say, of some teams trying to run it in the top lane with Lucario, but I really have not seen that succeed. So for now, I'm just going to have to say that I think solo, this Pokemon is much better than it is competitively. I think it's a really solid choice. For me, it does feel better than a Pokemon like Sylveon. Its damage output is just through the roof. And if you have a buddy barrier on it, you can actually survive in some of the late game fights. I like Absol a lot. B+ tier for Absol right now. Let's see, another speedster here. Gengar. Yeah, I have to put it all the way at the bottom, I think. I just don't know. I can't think of any Pokemon Is there any Pokemon? I don't know. I guess I'd rather have it. Maybe. I don't even know. I might even rather have Decidueye on my team. I'm trying to think of a situation I'd like Gengar over someone. I don't know. Not really. I mean, honestly, not really. I think that's the problem with this Pokemon is what it does. It's really good at deleting Pokemon. It's much better solo than competitive. You never see it competitive. And it's just, I don't know. It needs a way to get in and get out. It can get in to situations. It just can't get out. It has nowhere to go. So I think that's one of its biggest issues. Of course, when you get a 5 KO with it, it's pretty cool. Solo queue players, I mean, if you're good with Gengar, you can really clean up solo queue. Don't get me wrong. Same with Decidueye. You totally could. It's just pretty rough. It's a rough one. Talonflame, I'm putting it up in the S tier. Sometimes I hover it into A. Talonflame, since, I don't know, maybe a month and a half, 2 months after the game released and it got a few buffs, Talonflame has just been good for the longest time. It's good in scoring compositions. It's good in the classic 1-1-3. Brave Bird Aerial Ace is good. Fly is still good for making your way around the map. It unites a ton. One of the best Pokemon in the game. I love Talonflame. And now we've got Zeraora, who I feel like it's either B or B+. Here's what Zeraora needs, though. It needs a buff. And I know some people think if you buff it, it's going to be overpowered. Maybe it will for a little bit, but right now it's just not seeing much play. So Zeraora levels at a lower, it unlocks its moves and unite moves and stuff like that slower than everyone in the game. And I just don't think it makes any sense for this Pokemon anymore. I think it's time to tune those levels back. Let's take its, final move upgrade back down to 13 from 14. Let's give it its Unite move at level 9. Maybe you could still keep its second move upgrade at level 8. So we have that power spike there, kind of like Dragonite power spikes at level 8. But I think you can pull a lot of Zeraora's moves down just one level, kind of like what they did with Pokemon like Garchomp and Mamoswine, Gardevoir, kind of like that, and it'll see a lot more play. And maybe it will be a top tier choice for a while, but right now it's kind of just in this weird place where it's not bad, it's just kind of head scratchy. And I feel like both Pokemon in this B tier are kind of like that. Like Sylveon's not bad, but I'm just scratching my head. Why is it not better? Let's see. Next, Speedster here. Not Greedent. You're not a Speedster, Greedent, even though, come on now, buddy. We're missing one Speedster, right? Am I crazy? I am crazy, aren't I? Oh, no, 4. We have all 4. Sorry. Sorry, I'm dumb. We have all 4. Okay. What do we do next? We got all-rounders, we got defenders. Let's talk about some of the defenders. So Blastoise, and it's interesting. I think a lot of the defenders fall into this weird area here. Blastoise, I'd say, is B+. Defenders are always good, but if you're playing a defender in solo queue, it's always a little tough because you just can't rely on your team to do a ton of damage. That's kind of one of the issues with supporters or defenders in solo queue. However, there was a little hint of some people trying Blastoise competitively. It doesn't get a ton of competitive play. You know what? Actually, because of that, I think I'm going to drop it down to B. I think it's pretty good. Decent solo, very little competitive play. No, I'm moving it back to B+, because B right now is kind of this weird area where these Pokemon are good, but they need something. I think Blastoise is still good. It's just the way the game plays, it's out on an island a little bit. You just never see it competitively. And solo, again, pretty good, but you have to rely on your team to do so much. Crustle. Only good in a scoring comp. Just because of what I saw over the weekend, I will place you into the C tier right now, Crustle, but I still think Crustle needs some love. I still do. It only worked in one team composition. However, in that team composition, it worked very, very well. That is a scoring team comp where you are running around the map trying to put in as many goals as possible. Outside of that, I feel like it has almost no viability, and it doesn't do that job as well as the next Pokemon I'm going to talk about. Still, hats off to you, Crustle. You played very well in the finals of that tournament here. Greedent, our next defender we're going to talk about. I've been saying this for a while. Greedent's S tier. I think people, if you don't think Greedent's S tier, you are crazy. You need to be put in an insane asylum, very similar to the movie Shutter Island. I don't know if you saw Shutter Island. I barely remember it, but I'm referencing it now. So Greedent's amazing. Greedent's good at everything. Greedent, Greedon can fix things around the house, but Greedon is also the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Greedon runs ultra marathons, while at the same time, Greedon is, a great father or mother. I think Greedon is just the best. One of the best in the game. Incredible. Greedon is incredible. Let's see. Mamo. Mamo kind of hangs out in this B+ tier, and I think a lot of our defenders are going to kind of be in this B+ realm. I really like Mamoswine. You actually do see it a little more competitively than Blastoise, and it's because it performs a little bit better in that bottom path 1-1-3 meta where you have 3 Pokemon in that bottom path. It does okay, but it's still missing a little something to be ultra competitive here. Good Pokemon. Very, very good. Decent solo. I think Blastoise and Mamo are both pretty decent solo for defenders. Let's see. I almost called Mime a defender because, I mean, let's face it. Slowbro. Slowbro, I'm moving up to the A tier right now. Competitively, you could probably say this is an S tier Pokemon. It's used a ton and it's amazing. Solo, this Pokemon's a little tough. It's probably tougher than Blastoise and Mamo solo. So the reason I have it here in the A tier is just because it's so unbelievably good if the people around you know what they're doing. Right now, it's just so hard to KO. It does incredible amounts of crowd control. When you get its upgraded Surf and every hit of that Surf knocks enemies up into the air and throws them, as the game calls it, I just think this Pokemon is one of the most unbeatable. Big problem playing solo is you're a defender. I hope your team's there to help you out. Sometimes they're not. Snorlax. Snorlax, I don't know what to say about. It's really good. Really tough solo sometimes. All these defenders, I feel like I could drop down to B as well. They're all good, but man, they just have some issues. And it's not necessarily the defenders. It's just kind of where the game is at right now. They're all good, but they never see any competitive play. A little from Snorlax because it can push people off goal, but strangely enough, you still don't see it that much. It's a great Pokemon. Block is amazing. The amount of crowd control CC that you are able to accomplish with this Pokemon, knocking people up and pushing them around. It's great, but yeah, B+. I'm going to leave it B+. That's where I think it belongs. Wiggly is a defender, but it is not technically considered one. And I think, oh yes, Trevenant. Oh, my poor Trevenant. Trevenant is very, very low. I think it's just... yeah, everyone does something better than Trevenant, unfortunately. I was playing Trevenant on stream the other day. This Pokemon's so fun. I can't wait until they buff this Pokemon. Every single Pokemon in this bottom tier, these bottom 2, maybe even kind of these bottom 3, I can't wait until they give just a little love to all of these Pokemon because they are truly cool Pokemon. Trevenant's design is so cool. I really like it, but there's not a... I might want it over a Crustle from time to time, but in general, it just gets outclassed by everybody. Since a support, Hoopa is the most recent release to the game, I'll do supports last. And let's hop on over to our all-rounders. Lucario, one of the best Pokemon in the game, falls off a little solo. It's used much more competitively than it is solo, but it's still amazing solo even. You can secure objectives with it. You can KO enemies incredibly well. You can team fight with it. Close combat does an insane amount of damage. It's hard to KO this Pokemon. It's mobile. It's just great. Lucario's great. It's always been great. They've nerfed it a ton of times and it's still great. Like they can't seem to hurt this Pokemon. Char, I still think is A. I think Char is very, very good. It has some issues. It competitively has a few issues that I noticed with the tournaments over the weekend, and that's if teams are using their buddy barriers correctly or using Slowbro just to kind of cancel this Pokemon's Unite move in general, it's hard for this Pokemon to do as much as you'd like because when it gets up in the air and starts flying around, it really can burn through teams. However, if countered correctly, it kind of feels a little underwhelming. That being said, I still think it's an amazing choice, a strong, strong Pokemon. I believe it is an A tier Pokemon for sure. And solo, it's extremely good. Garchomp, I want to say B+, but I think I'm going to put it B. I think I'll put it somewhere in this B tier. It's good. Competitively, it really hasn't found its place. I was seeing it used when it had its buffs, but no one's really been able to figure out a way to really make this Pokemon shine in a competitive fashion. It's pretty dang good solo. It's these Pokemon, again, all these B tier Pokemon, not bad at all. You could argue maybe moving this up to B plus a little bit here. It's great. It's in the best spot it's been in the game in a long time. But I think, yeah, it's a solid Pokemon, a solid B tier Pokemon. Machamp. Machamp, I believe, is A tier. Close to S. Really close. It might be S. I'm trying to think. It's up there. It's a really, really amazing Pokemon. And ever since it got the ability to secure last hits with its Karate Chop in lane, it's just become such a different Pokemon. I think Dynamic Punch Close Combat is the build I'd recommend for this. And its Unite move is just incredible. I almost think it's S. It just doesn't quite get there for me. It doesn't quite get there, but it's incredible. A tier for sure. Great, great Pokemon. Serena. This is a weird one. I almost want to put Serena all the way down into the Decidueye tier. The only thing holding me back is it isn't that bad, but it does remind me of a Pokemon like Ninetales where there are just other all-rounders that kind of do similar things better. After its nerfs, it's just a shadow of its former self. It's weird. I think they over-nerfed this Pokemon. I remember talking to Crashy. This is the Crashy, the K that you see right here, another creator. And we were both saying that we didn't think it needed much of a nerf. It was in a really good spot. Yes, it was being used a lot, but now you nerf it and you just don't see it used. So, you have to think, what do you want here? Do you want a Pokemon that is maybe a little overpowered, that's getting a lot of play and actually fighting for Lucario in that top spot? Or do you want a Pokemon that just doesn't get used that much anymore? And that's where we're at with Serena right now. It needs some help. Honestly, I think it was over-nerfed for sure. Dragonite. Dragonite is... I'd say it's B plus, maybe even A. Still an extremely good Pokemon. The Outrage build you never see competitively or anything like that. I think if you're playing Dragonite, you should be playing Hyper Beam because that's the one thing this Pokemon can do that no one can do. No one can secure objectives like Dragonite. It's the best in the game. So I think if you're gonna play it, you're playing it with that Hyper Beam. It has been nerfed a few times, so I kind of want to leave it in this B plus spot. Still really good though. Yeah, still really good, especially if you're able to evolve early, make it down to one of those big, that big Dreadnought fight at level 8, Hyper Beam it, secure it for your team, give your team that early lead. I think if you play Dragonite like that, it's pretty great. And we did see it on a lot of competitive teams, both scoring-focused teams and non-scoring focused teams. So I think it's a super solid Pokemon. In fact, I'm actually going to move it up to A. Now that I think about it, because we see it also competitively and you can play it solo. Yeah, I think it's A. It's low, but I think it's A. Aegis, however you want to say it. I think this Pokemon is solid, and I think it hangs out solidly in the B tier. Again, everything in this B tier here, they're good Pokemon. There are better choices. It's not overtuned at all. It's really fun to play, and its skill ceiling, I think, is pretty high. Once you kind of get used to the flow of it, it's so cool. But it does get overshadowed by a few of the other all-rounders. Like, it's not as good as Charizard, Machamp, Lucario. It doesn't do Dragonite's job at all. They're not similar jobs, but I think it does get overshadowed by many of the all-rounders here in this game. The all-rounder class in general is doing very, very well, and this is a really cool Pokemon. So I like it. I like it, don't love it. Love playing it, but competitively, it's, you just never see it really. Blissey, I think people are sleeping on Blissey a little bit competitively. I think Blissey's A. I kind of put Blissey lower from time to time. I actually think solo it's not even that bad because you do get great last hitting and securing with Blissey's Pound. I love Blissey. It's probably my favorite support to play right now. I just have so much fun with it. Safeguard is gross. If you find one good member of your team, safeguard that person all game. They're not going to get KO'd. I think Blissey's really solid right now. Eldegoss, one of the best in the game, without question, just one of the best Pokemon in the game. Pretty dang good solo, good last hits. You KO a lot because it's ranged, and its Unite move is extremely good in fights. It's good for securing. It's good. It does everything. Eldegoss does everything. I was wondering if Hoopa was going to give it a run for its money, but they are very different Pokemon. Mime's still very good. I think B+ is where I'd put Mime right now. Very good Pokemon. You don't see it used as much anymore when you're talking competitively because you see more Slowbros and Wigglytuffs right now. I did see some top-ranked Mimes, and they were amazing. If you see a player like Bruv or something like that, these people play Mime at such a high level. It is incredible, but you're just not seeing it as much. Solo, though, an extremely good Pokemon. Solo, I think it's better than someone like Slowbro or Eldegoss or something like that, Blissey, just because you can output insane amounts of damage with it. Wigglytuff, S tier. One of the best in the game. Crazy good. Crazy good. Been crazy good forever. Gonna be crazy good forever. Good in a scoring comp. Good in a traditional 1-1-3 meta. Good with its sing. Good with its rollout. Everything Wiggly does is amazing. Its Unite move is insane. Wiggly is just one of the best Pokemon in the game. Even solo, it's pretty dang good. It's pretty dang good solo, too. If you're running Sing, you kind of have to have a team that's not completely clueless. And look, I'm not even trying to be mean when I say this. Sometimes you do have a team that's completely clueless and they never show up to a fight. And in that sense, Sing can be a little rough. But yeah, in general, I think Wiggly is just one of the best in the game. And now we have Hoopa, our hoopy little Hoopa. So the question is, where do we hoop? Where do we put this hoop? It's early, right? It just made its way into ranked. So I think a lot of people don't know how to play with it on its team. Don't know how to use it to its greatest effect. We haven't seen it competitively. So I am going out on a limb a little bit right here by placing it where I think it is going to go. But I do think it is solidly an S tier Pokemon. I think without question, you will see many teams try to use this competitively. And the things this Pokemon can do, the reason it's S tier, even if it doesn't feel amazing sometimes, the reason it's S tier is because not a single Pokemon in the game can do the things this Pokemon can do. The amount of mobility, map control, some of the plays you can make with this Pokemon's Unite move, or just its hyperspace hole, fully healing an ally or yourself, or giving the ability to move between goals. This Pokemon is crazy good, and I think I should say it right now. I don't think I'm wrong about this. I don't think I'm overstating it. I think Hoopa is a game-changing Pokemon. There are a lot of game-changing Pokemon in this S tier that could have this spot right now, but Hoopa just got put into this game, and right now I feel like it is Hoopa's world, and we are all living in it. I could be wrong. I would love to be proven wrong in some ways because I think this is going to be a competitive staple. I also think in solo queue, once people start to figure out how to play this, you're going to see it in pretty much every single match. I will say playing Hoopa, I've been playing Hoopa all day. I've been playing it kind of through the entire weekend and lots of standard matches. I've been playing it ranked all day. When people don't follow Hoopa, when they don't use your Unite, when they don't go through your hyperspace hole and rotate down to Dreadnought, it breaks your heart maybe more than you could ever have your heart broken. But there we go. That is the tier list for the Hoopa release. I'd like to see how this all shakes out. We're going to have some balance patches at some point, probably before our next Pokemon, but maybe not. I can't wait to see what some teams do with this competitively. And now for the fun part where we move everything around and just see if we catch somebody at the end. I'm doing a Blues Clues. Let's see. And who will we say our god tier Pokemon is right now? Oh, somebody fun. Aegis Slash, our buddy Aegis Slash. So that's one of the big things that you notice about a Pokemon like Aegis Slash is now that we do have, Hoopa in this game, you can see I think Hoopa is a solid, it's a support, it's a solid B+ Pokemon. Once you have a Pokemon like that and you're able to move around the map as Aegis Slash, you now have the ability to kind of be everywhere at once, throwing that Sacred Sword down, getting all of your boosted stacks, just making it between each lane for these massive KOs. Aegis Slash just kind of needed that little bit of something to turn it on and make it one of the best Pokemon in the game, and that is really the support it is getting from a character like Hoopa. You see some of the other things that are big right now. Because Hoopa and Aegislash are so prevalent, Sylveon, I think, is rising in prominence a lot. Being able to use Mystical Fire and move around what these Pokemon are doing is incredibly important. And then, of course, we see the Pokemon you would expect. Trevenant, Gengar, Mamoswine, Cram. They're all really, really low. Interestingly enough, a lot of the all-rounders going to fall off after this. You will not see a ton of Lucario. You will not see a ton of Charizard. You will not see a ton of Machamp. You're just not going to see these Pokemon as much because you're going to see Aegislash and kind of Hoopa work together for that combo. And then, of course, because of that, a Pokemon who had very little mobility before, who is now A tier, you're going to see a lot more Decidueye. Hoopa is going to make us see a lot more Decidueye. Well, I want to say thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. I love you. I'll see y'all next time.